I'm William Kumwembe with yet another edition of the program Business Time right here on Times Television. This is a magazine program in which we look at some of the major business stories happening in Malawi and beyond. And coming up in the program today, Malawi to lose 100 billion kwacha in post-harvest losses. And cotton markets open. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned if you could.
Now you can access the Daily Times, Malawi News, and the Sunday Times newspapers anytime, anywhere, by the click of a mouse or a swipe on your smartphone. With eTimes, right on your mobile gadget. Flip through the pages with a swipe or a click. Navigate through all pages and see clear pictures and designs. Access a database of previous papers of the Daily Times, Malawi News, and the Sunday Times. Easy. Subscribe now to eTimes. Go to www.times.mw/e-edition. Sign up and log in. Enter your password and enjoy the newspaper. It's about time.
Malawi is this year expected to lose 100 billion kwacha in post-harvest losses in maize alone. Figures from the Farmers Organization Limited have shown. The 100 billion kwacha projected loss is an equivalent of 14.297% of the 2018-2019 national budget, projected at 1.49 trillion kwacha. The revelations came at a time second-round crop estimates by the Minister of Agriculture have indicated that Malawi will harvest a total of 3.35 million metric tons of maize this year. We have the detail in this report.
Currently, post-harvest losses in Malawi are seen at 25%. On Monday, the Minister of Agriculture said 150 kwacha per kilogram as the minimum price for trading maize in Malawi this year. Farmers Organization Limited National Sales Manager Ronald Chirumpa said there is a need for Malawi to cut on the losses that come about because of poor handling of maize after harvest.
We are looking at what research has shown, that the country loses 25 bags of maize out of every 100 bags. Now, if you look at the second round of crop production estimates from Minister of Agriculture, they are looking at a production of 3.3 million metric tons. Now, do a quick calculation and multiply that by the current market price for maize. The cost that the country is going to lose, I mean, it's over 100 billion. Simple.
So how could the country affect this loss?
That's why we called for the media to, first of all, highlight the problem that is looming, and then create awareness for the technologies that we've got at Farmers Organization Limited. So we've discussed about the grain storage products that are available from Farmers Organization. The acrylic gold dust, which is new chemistry. This is a product that we launched in 2015, and as I've said, it's new chemistry. It's addressing the issues of pest resistance that is common on the market, because farmers have been using the rest of the other products for a prolonged time. We have been in touch with government, Ministry of Agriculture, and you recall at some point government extended the FISIP program and included grain storage products. That's 3 or 4 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. But that has not happened in the recent years. And looking at the bumper yield that we've got, that's why we're saying government must come in. And they are aware about the challenge of post-harvest losses. This has to be addressed. If it's not addressed, that's a loss that we are looking at.
While acknowledging that post-harvest losses is a serious problem in Malawi, Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Grain and Rural Piri, said Capitol Hill is putting in place measures to reduce the damage. Piri said, among others, the ministry is encouraging farmers to take good care of their harvest by applying the right chemicals as well as using PICS bags. Times in Blandaya. This is Daonga Sabola.
The country's cotton market opened on Thursday with the crop trading at 370 kwacha per kilogram. The markets are expected to run for 90 days. Cosmas Luanda is Cotton Council Executive Director and explains in this interview.
What we have done as Cotton Council is just to put in place the provisions that are contained in the Cotton Act of 2013. One of them is to designate marketing centers where cotton is supposed to be traded. And as we are opening today, 197 of those marketing centers have been established, and all buyers have been communicated, and the farmers are also being communicated. Apart from that, again, we are also deploying teams of inspectors and monitors who are supposed to make sure that every participant in the marketing of cotton is adhering to the provisions of the Cotton Act. So these teams are going to be deployed, and they're going to be full-time in those cotton growing districts to make sure that ginners and farmers are treating each other fairly on the market so that each one of them benefits. To come up with the price of 375 kwacha, it has been a negotiated process. A negotiated process between the buyer and the seller. The seller is the farmer, the buyer are the ginners. So they have been meeting for almost 2 times to talk about the prices. Farmers presenting their gross margins of what inputs and what investment have gone into their production. Again, the ginners have also presented the prospects, what the market is showing about cotton internationally. So the experience that we have had, because we have been there as a referee, is that the international market lint prices have fallen compared to the same time last year. Last year, when we were negotiating the prices with the ginners, the lint price was 88 cents per kilogram of seed cotton, of lint, not seed cotton. And this year, it has fallen to 77 cents per kilogram of lint. And the major causes of this fall has been the tariff war that is there between China and America. And so we would expect that the price that would be offered to the farmers should also fall. But through the negotiations that they had, they settled at maintaining the same price as was there last year, because normally the farmers' costs of inputs have also somehow risen. So they agreed that we start at 375 kwacha, which is the same price that was started with last year. Addressing the issue of whether this price is inspiring. Yes, this price, to me, and looking at the global picture, the market as a whole, is not very bad. Why is it not very bad? It's not very bad because when you look at that price, you will see that the farmers are at least making a profit. Because when you are calculating the gross margins, when you reach at the break-even point, then you add a markup for the farmer, which normally ranges from 25% to 30%. Now, between 25% and 30%, that gap is negotiable. And that's what has happened. So if you calculate, you see that still the farmer is going to make a profit not less than 25% from the price that has been offered. And let's also remember that this is just a minimum price. It's not a fixed price. It's a price that can move upwards, but it cannot move downwards. It's inflexible downwards, but it can move upwards. So we expect that through competition of the ginners, with the small crop that is there, the price should be able to appreciate over time through the 90 days that the market is going to run. And so it's inspiring. Again, comparing our prices in Malawi with prices of our neighboring countries in SADC, you can cross-check. We have the highest price. Like last year, at the same price, Zambia had 33 cents being offered to the farmers. You can calculate that in Malawi kwacha, yeah? But our price, the 375 kwacha, at an exchange rate of last year, it was coming up to around 51 cents. So even when we went to international meetings, our friends were asking us, Malawi, how do you really get these better prices? And for that reason, you find that some cotton crosses borders from Mozambique to Malawi because we have got better prices. So it's a price that is considerably okay for now. In recent years, the trend, maybe for the past 5 years, has not been very good because, as I said, the appetite for seed cotton by the ginning companies is very high, but what we are producing for now is very low. But gradually, since last year, we have started to increase, though not at a pace that we would have wanted. You will recall that in 2016, 2017, I think what we got is around 6,000 metric tons, and that was the lowest point and the saddest point in the cotton industry. But last year we managed to move to 15,000 metric tons, and this year we are expecting 24,000 metric tons. There are certain issues that we need to put in place to make sure that we leapfrog to quantities such as 60,000 metric tons or even 100,000 metric tons. And when we reach there, then we shall say we have started our journey. But we need to deal with the quality of inputs that are being provided to the growers. That's the greatest challenge for now. And we are working on that to make sure that the quality of inputs are improved in terms of the quality of seed and also the quality of chemicals to make sure that we deal with the challenges that are reducing our yield year in, year out.
Low telecommunication connectivity has been described as a major barrier to enhance digital banking solutions in the country. This came from Chief Executive Officer of MyBucks Bank, formerly NFB, Zindile Shaba, at its rebranding event in Lilongwe. Shaba says despite rebranding, the bank is poised to continue making profits moving forward.
It's quite big. As banks, you really have to have, it actually increases the cost of banking because you need several backups. In terms of internet reliability. Whenever you open a branch or whatever it is, you're running an ATM somewhere. So that cost goes up, and it's a cost that you need to then pass on to your customers. And obviously in other countries, internet availability is much more developed, but also related to the clients that we want to target, the unbanked. It's very important that they have access to internet, even if it's connectivity actually is what I should say, because most of the services will be done through USSD, so we need the network to be available and reliable so that people can transact on their cell phones rather than carrying cash all the time. But the failure rate in terms of that connectivity, I mean, even in this hotel, you try and swipe, it fails. So that failure rate needs to be reduced as much as possible. And it's all related to connectivity. Well, you know, banks are not in the business of connectivity. So I think it's a thing that needs to be tackled, that the MNOs are looking at, and other internet companies are also looking at. And it's a decision that they need to make. And I think they are actually investing in that area to improve it. But once that improves, you'll see how this country will change in terms of access to finance, because that's the cheapest way of doing it rather than going somewhere else and trying to always build infrastructure in terms of a building. But even that building needs connectivity. So it's a problem that cannot be discounted or minimized. Basically, there'll be tremendous growth this year. We've already seen it. We're already ahead of budget for the year, even in spite of reducing interest rates going forward. But the level of growth that we have has resulted in us, the volumes have increased. So there hasn't been an impact in terms of our performance going downwards when it comes to the actual budgeted performance. The other growth we're seeing is really the customer base. And I think that's the foundation of banking is if your customers are not growing, you're not growing. So the number of transactions we're having on our platform, our branches are now beginning to overflow. So rolling out the technology is actually important so that we can now start to decongest our branches, which a year ago was not a problem for the old New Finance Bank. So these are problems that we're managing going forward, and we expect that growth to continue because obviously we're connecting with the customers in some way that others are not, for us to be growing so fast.
And Francis Peleka-Moyo is the bank's board chairperson.
Our rebranding is intended to do two things. First, to provide bankable services to our customers, and at the same time provide financial literacy to our customers, because our main aim is to provide technologically driven products to our customers. The going has been quite good. We are not a very old bank, and any financial institution starts from a lot of what we call capital investment, opening branches and so forth. But last year, we made a triple change in terms of profits, and we have, as we heard this morning, it was a triple-digit profit figure. So it's a time when everybody is seeing a lot of future in our bank, is seeing a lot of hope in our bank, and also seeing that we have made strides on the market of Malawi. I think our products are different, and our technology is different. It is going to be a new thing, and we are confident because it is working, and we have already seen it working at the moment, because we have a software that is easily understood by our customers. I think what is difficult sometimes is that you introduce technology which people in the rural areas may not understand it. But our only case is that our products are very simple to understand, very easy to use, and we are also embedding in our philosophy financial literacy. We have to teach our customers, we have to engage our customers, and we have to be friendly to our customers. Growth prospect of the bank is going to be very fast, and I think our employment rate might be increasing between 25 and 30% every year.
Remember, this is Business Time right here on Times Television, a magazine program in which we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country and beyond. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
Now you can access the Daily Times, Malawi News, and the Sunday Times newspapers anytime, anywhere, by the click of a mouse or a swipe on your smartphone. With eTimes, right on your mobile gadget. Flip through the pages with a swipe or a click. Navigate through all pages and see clear pictures and designs. Access a database of previous papers of the Daily Times, Malawi News, and the Sunday Times. Easy. Subscribe now to eTimes. Go to www.times.mw/e-edition. Sign up and log in. Enter your password and enjoy the newspaper. It's about time.
Welcome back. The Malawi Stock Exchange listed financial services giant Nico Holdings Limited has said it posted an after-tax profit of 12.7 billion kwacha in the year ended 31st December 2018. In a statement on Thursday, Nico Holdings said the profit was 4% above the 12.1 billion kwacha registered in 2017. More in this report.
In a statement on Thursday, Nico Holdings has attributed the growth in profitability to a better and improved performance of its banking and asset management subsidiaries. Among others, Nico Holdings banking subsidiary, NBS Bank, posted a profit in 2018 from a loss in 2017. The firm says the macroeconomic fundamentals in Malawi and other countries in which it operates remain positive. It says it looks ahead to doing better and more profitable business in 2019. The company's board has since declared a second dividend of 834 million kwacha, or 80 tambala per share. In addition, Nico Holdings board will propose a final dividend of 313 million kwacha, or 30 tambala per share, at the firm's annual general meeting, which would bring the total dividend for the year 2018 to 1.77 billion kwacha, or 1 kwacha 70 tambala per share. Reporting from Blantyre, this is Tawonga Sabola.
And proceeding with the program, let us now have a look at how the Malawi kwacha is faring against major trading currencies on the foreign exchange market. On Thursday, Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa presided over the country's 39th independence celebrations, an event that came as his government is promising to partially compensate white commercial farmers whose lands were confiscated and redistributed to blacks during the decades-long rule of Robert Mugabe. Columbus Mavunga reports for VOA News from Harare.
Glenn Johnston is accompanying his mother Agnes to the offices of the Zimbabwe Commercial Farmers Union to begin the process for obtaining government compensation. She was displaced from her farm about 17 years ago. They are cautious about the government promise of partial compensation for their seized land.
It's a promise on top of a promise, basically. It looks like we've been promised that steps have been taken. So now we are taking these steps, yeah. Will we get the money at the end of the day? Obviously time will tell.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa was quoted Sunday in state media as promising the partial compensation program for white farmers. Meanwhile, the Zimbabwe Commercial Farmers Union has received close to 1,000 applications for compensation which it will submit to the government. Union head Ben Gilpin says Mnangagwa's pledge comes at a good time as Zimbabwe observes its independence.
I think for many people the last 20 independences have come and gone without such promises being even hinted at, and now the promises that this is being dealt with seriously, so we appreciate that. From the point of view of Zimbabwe, how is this independence compared to others? It's a tough independence, we all know that.
Mnangagwa's ruling ZANU-PF party says it hopes Zimbabwe's strained relations with the West will thaw now that the government has agreed to pay former white commercial farmers. The ruling party also hopes the economy will improve.
Our president has demonstrated to the world how generous he can be, because he has agreed to pay people what they are not supposed to pay, to be paid. You cannot expect to pay a housebreaker for breaking into your house. And this is what happened really, using a gun. But we are saying, at least it's important that we compensate for their sweat. But when that happens, then the international world must accept Zimbabwe in the global family again, economically and politically.
Until now, Zimbabwe's government had refused to compensate white commercial farmers as a way to show the country's total independence from Britain. But critics say the seizure of the land from white commercial farmers is the reason for Zimbabwe's ailing economy. Columbus Mavunga for VOA News, Harare.
Most wireless connections use RF or radio frequency communications to send data back and forth, but all the information can slow things down. One National Science Foundation supported researcher is using light to send information, and as we hear from this VOS report, it's quicker and more secure than RF.
Computer scientist Xia Zhou thinks a lot about traffic.
Problem you see is coming from the increasing demand, traffic demands, from the increasing number of devices we're having today.
The number of wireless devices we depend on is growing, and more data traffic means more traffic jams. Most of that information is sent by radio frequency, or RF, which just doesn't have the muscle to handle all the computing devices coming online.
Radio frequency is widely used today for wireless communication. The idea of visible light communication is to look at another medium, which is visible light spectrum.
With support from the National Science Foundation, Zhou and a team at Dartmouth College are developing ways to transmit data using the lighting devices we have in our homes. It's called Li-Fi.
The idea is to turn the lights around us into wireless transmitters to encode data into the changes of the light.
By connecting a small modulation unit, Any LED light can be turned into a wireless networking device.
It has much wider bandwidth, and it's also more secure because light cannot penetrate the wall, so you can confine the communication inside the room without worrying about others eavesdropping the traffic.
It can even work in the dark using a system called dark light.
We are generating very short pulses from the LEDs, and they are imperceptible to our eyes, but detectable by the sensors, so they can still transmit data.
Zhou's Li-Fi also receives signals. This technology allows users to interact with devices just by making gestures in the air, which will be handy as devices get smaller. Lights in the ceiling could also sense movements of the entire body. They've tested the system as a virtual reality controller, but its potential goes far beyond gaming.
If the infrastructure, the environment knows the posture of our body, so this can be an input modality to those different devices, so you can interact with them without having any devices on the body at all.
A big limitation of Li-Fi is that light can't pass through walls. That means every light in a house or building would have to be individually connected to the internet. That could be cost prohibitive, at least until wired lights are part of all new buildings. Kevin Enochs, VOA News.
Well, with that international news story, we've also come to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time right here on Times Television. Until next week, on behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. But always remember, if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. Bye for now.